this summer in China for the World Cup. And I've always admired his game, but it was fun to get to know him. And I had no doubt while I was coaching him this summer that he'd be great for the Celtics, given his, not only his ability on the court, but just the chemistry he generates with the group. Everybody loves playing with him. He moves the ball, he plays hard, he's fun to be around. So you could tell, I mean, I think we had 4 Celtics on that team, so it's a head start for them. You could tell over the summer that those guys were going to click, and they absolutely have. They've gotten off to a great start.
Steve, going back to Draymond's leadership, have you seen him single out Eric at all in terms of just, his style of play, and they have similar body types, similar positions? Have you seen him passing on anything to Eric specifically?
Yeah, I mean, he speaks with Eric every day. Nothing specifically that comes to mind that would probably work for your story that you're working on. But I think he respects Eric and appreciates him and probably views him in a similar light in terms of his own career. Second round pick, stayed the full time in college, and came into the NBA much better prepared to play than most rookies. So there's definitely a connection there, and Draymond has offered a lot of advice.
Steve, over here to your left. This is the first time, I believe, that you've had the same starting lineup, assuming you don't have a change tonight. You guys shouldn't assume that, but you've had the same starting lineup for 3 straight games. Is this a matter of wanting to see what these guys can build as a group, or is it just, let's see when everybody gets healthy and go from there, in terms of any possible change?
Yeah, I mean, there's always possible changes when you're 2-10. I mean, there's nothing set in stone, but for the most part, we've only had 9 or 10 guys available, and our options have been limited just due to the balance of our roster. So nothing's set in stone. We're gonna try different combinations. We played Draymond and Eric together a little bit last game with the 3 and the 4. There's no reason why we won't do that some more. See how they can click. So we'll keep experimenting.
Steve, just get back to the Celtics for 1 second. Since you saw them, the guys for so long in China, what is it that you saw that you thought would get them to click this quickly, this early?
Well, number one, they're all really good players. You don't make the national team without being an excellent player, and so we know about the talent already. But I think it was just the versatility. Marcus Smart's a guy who could play 3 different positions, and I think you can say the same thing for Jalen and Jason. Those 2 guys can play the 2, 3, or the 4. And you look at the way they're playing now, it's really interchangeable parts all over the board. They're switching probably more than anybody that I've seen all year defensively. And then offensively, all those guys I mentioned can make plays, and so can Kemba. Obviously, he's their point guard, their main playmaker. And then they've got Carson Edwards coming off the bench making plays too. So they have a lot of versatility, and the pieces fit well together, and they're very well coached.
I know it's only been a couple of games, but what are some of your first thoughts on how Draymond is fitting in with the new offense, and specifically next to D'Angelo?
Well, I think he's done well. I mean, it's such a dramatic shift, as we've talked about. He's handled the ball a lot more in the past, but we'd like to get him with the ball, even with this team, and we experimented with that a little bit against the Lakers, and you'll probably see more of that tonight. He needs to be in a playmaking role at times. I mean, that's his strength as an offensive player. And so we'll continue to try to find ways to feature him, and yet still maintain a lot of the stuff that we've been doing without him over the last couple weeks.
How is he handling all of this, being kind of the last man standing?
I think he's handling it just fine. I mean, he's a realist like I am. You know, nobody is preordained to get to play in the finals every year. You know, it just doesn't work that way. So I think we sort of look at it the opposite way, in that how lucky we've been to be you know, part of this group over the last, well, for me, 5 years, for Draymond, the last 7 years, and have this wild success. And maybe we're due for a year like this. It's kind of how life works, and so let's make the most of it. And so that means the goals change a little bit. You know, instead of thinking about being healthy for the playoffs, you're thinking about how you can make the team better and how you can help a group of young players advance in their own careers, and in turn help us win games down the road. And it's a fun challenge, it really is, and it can be very satisfying. It's also very difficult to lose games, and Draymond is, as you know, one of the great competitors in the world, and so it's not easy. It's not easy for any of us in the organization to be 2-10, but we're trying to maintain an even keel and keep pushing forward, try to get better, and remember what the goals are. We got to keep going.
Thank you.
Steve, back here. What have you seen from Grant Williams, and do you think that Draymond is a good kind of role model for him to pattern his game after?
I'll be perfectly honest, I don't know him well enough yet to say that one way or the other. I watched their most recent game today against Washington, and he got some minutes. I saw him briefly, but I don't know him well enough to really make a full assessment of him. Probably a better question for Mike Brown, who scouted us tonight, and for our advanced scouts, but we'll have a better feel, obviously, seeing him for the first time tonight.
Steve, how much of a leash, not necessarily in terms of the number of games or anything, but with Jordan, you need scoring from him. I guess that's one of his roles, but he's obviously having a tough time doing that. How do you balance wanting him out there to get his thing going, and also making sure that if he's not effective, somebody else gets a chance?
Yeah, well, there is no somebody else right now, so that's the issue. We're throwing guys into the fire. I believe we'll have 10 players available tonight. Damian Lee's absence means Jordan's going to play no matter what. And I think he's done really well. I thought last game against the Lakers, he took really good shots. He had a few games there recently where he was taking some off-balance shots, quick shots. I thought his looks in LA were really good. They didn't go down, but we're not concerned with that right now. He's going to make shots. He's a great shooter. He's got to just get comfortable in the league, and he's doing better. Jordan is getting better and working hard at both ends and putting all the work in. He's a great kid, and we're lucky to have him.
Steve, what's your impressions of Kai Bowman and his growth process over the last few months?
I love Kai. He's a competitor. He plays hard every night. He's got a football background, and that's kind of his approach. He's going to attack. He's aggressive at both ends, and we're trying to teach him the finer points of playing point guard, managing the game, understanding time and score, and the importance of when to look for your shot, when to move the ball. He was really a scoring guard at BC. So at his size, he has to be a point guard in the NBA. And he's got to put a lot of pressure on his opponent defensively, and so he knows that. We've talked to him about it, and he's done a good job of that here in the early going. So he's gaining really, really valuable experience.
Steve, back here. Right here. Who has stepped up besides Draymond in regards to the leadership role, not only on the court, but inside the locker room, in regards to helping with morale?
Well, it's still pretty early in the season, and we have a brand new group. Draymond, I believe, is the only guy in the locker room tonight who would have played in the playoffs last year. Is that right? Yeah. So when you have a new group, it takes some time for the hierarchy to sort of unfold, and it's a quiet group. So the veteran guys that we do have, Willie and Alec and Glenn, they are they're on the quiet side, and so they're leading by example in practice. They've been very, very professional and hardworking. They've done everything we've asked. But as far as voice in the locker room, it's Draymond right now, and I think that will change as we go. I think as teams, as seasons unfold, I think leaders kind of naturally emerge, and I think that'll happen.
Great, thanks, appreciate that.